Hot 10. Huh. Yeah, dude, use that shit, bro.
Welcome back to At East Cast. I am Hesco, and that is
James.
So, as always, we try to bring you the latest and the greatest from the last couple weeks of political and everyday news and stuff like that that's been going on. And a lot's been going on the last couple weeks. There's a lot of moving, a lot of shifting going on in politics. I have consumed so many hours of video on some of these subjects, and I'm freaking burnt out from it, man. Just looking at it, man. It's just and listening to all these nonsense.
It'll consume you if you let it.
So we ridiculous. Have Dianne Feinstein passed away.
Yep. Passed away, yesterday?
Yesterday. So, a lot of memes on that.
I was saying that's how I found out about her passing. Saw a meme about the Feinstein zombie new Halloween costume.
Yeah, I'm sure she had people that loved her.
Oh, yeah.
So, condolences out to the family and whatever. You never want to see... I don't want to see people, suffering if I can help it, but she wasn't the nicest of people out there. But she's no longer anybody's problem now. So let's see what other freaking non-contributing zero takes over that seat.
She's California, right?
I think so, yeah. So, I guess it would help if we found out more about her, other than
San Francisco.
Her shenanigans with the guns and all that other nonsense she's trying to pull in the last freaking however many years she's been in politics. She was
mayor of San Francisco in the late 70s and through the 80s, and she was a House representative.
Right.
She had one kid.
Yep. But as far as news, so we got a looming government shutdown.
Yeah, just a few minutes ago, I just got a update on it. The House passed a stopgap measure to prevent the shutdown. Look it up real quick and give you some more accurate information.
Are they going to send money to Ukraine still?
Yeah, of course. They were actually excluded from the shutdown.
Imagine that.
The Pentagon came back and said, it's like, yeah, whatever else happens, Ukraine is still getting their money. They put that out there pretty plainly. The government shuts down. The U.S. military is not getting paid. U.S. government employees, direct employees, are not going to get paid. The contractors are still going to get paid, more than likely. But Ukraine is definitely going to get paid. They're billions and billions of dollars. Apparently, hell, they got to be making about $10 billion a month on average off the United States.
Unbelievable. It's
Yeah. Threat of government shutdown ends as Congress passes a temporary funding plan and sends it to Biden. That's from Associated Press, and that was like 40 minutes ago. So, and today is the 30th. So, yep.
So, for those of you that don't know, the assistance to the Ukraine is not limited to just military assistance. We are paying for their governmental structure. We're paying for their pensions. We're paying for their salaries. We're paying for...
Yeah, it's not strictly soldiers and military assets.
It's not strictly a defense budget.
Yeah. It's government employees, plumbers, electricians, infrastructure workers.
We are their GDP.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah.
We are their GDP. We are directly propping up that entire country from top to bottom. I don't think they're making... And the thing is, if we weren't doing that, Ukraine would have lost ages ago. But
right.
because they have no way to put up a fight without the ability to make money, because Russia is cutting off their ports, so they can't ship anything out. They can't ship anything in. They are doing that, though. They are getting ships in and out, but that's because of American military assistance. So the United States Navy has sent ships in there to escort cargo ships to and from Ukraine. So I'm pretty sure some of their land-based freight imports and exports are still being protected by places like Poland. So
yeah, Poland apparently decided to pull back recently and focus more on their national defense.
Mm-hmm.
And that created a little bit of friction in relations. But there's been a lot of talks on Ukraine and our involvement there and everything that's been going on, and it's not pretty. The UN is now, they had hearings the other day where they were discussing the Nord Stream pipeline and its destruction, and Joe Biden's basically back when he said that he would end that pipeline if Russia crossed that border.
yeah,
So there's a lot of preemptive evidence on video. Again, just like he always does, he tells it on camera for all of us to find,
and then deny it later. Yeah.
and then deny it later that he ever had anything to do. But that's been a thing. I mean, I don't know where that's going to end up, but we'll go ahead and keep monitoring that situation abroad. But right now, we want to kind of focus on some of the issues that we got inside our nation, because it's even though this stuff is affecting everything, but we'll see. We got a lot of other things going on domestically that are putting a cramp in our everyday stuff. So recently, I'm going to talk about the Supreme Court ruling.
The Supreme Court ruling?
Yeah, well, the Supreme Court, that Supreme Court, they were asked to on a rule, that
they were asked to hear a case.
Has to hear a case. So the attorney generals of about 20 different states filed a briefing with the U.S. Supreme Court asking them to fix a major loophole that's currently being exploited by homeless encampments all over the United States. Now, if you guys haven't been keeping track, the homeless epidemic has been something that's been plaguing every major city in the United States. Homeless encampments everywhere, been popping up, and times are hard. And then these people, a lot of these people decide to live the way they want to live, and there's no incentive. The incentive is disappearing to not be homeless. You're getting government assistances, and you get all these different subsidies and all these different groups that feed you, house you, clothe you.
I've heard things out of California. There have been homeless people that have been interviewed on the sides of the streets. It's like, why would you want to get a house or not be homeless? Because you get about $1,000 a month to be homeless. You just sit out here in the streets like us. The guy's plainly saying on a video, like, I score my dope, I buy food, I pay for a cell phone that has, it's a smartphone that gets an internet connection, so I can watch whatever I want to watch, and I'm getting money from the state because I'm homeless. And I think he was either in San Francisco or LA, something like that. But the biggest cities in the country are the ones that are hardest hit by it, but they also have the most lenient laws for homelessness. You got Seattle that's absolutely rampant with homeless encampments and enclaves. So is LA, so is San Francisco, San Diego, New York, Chicago, Miami, Dallas, Austin. Texas isn't immune. Houston. I mean, all these huge cities that are just We have ridiculous enclaves of tent cities, and they're not going anywhere, and you can't do anything about it. So law enforcement is trying to either move people around or get them out of there completely, and their hands are being tied by it, and it's become an epidemic that politicians are starting to come out now, and like politicians from other states and opposing politicians from the states that it's actually happening in. And a lot of the problem is the state funding for people who are trying to solve the homelessness problem. Mm-hmm. So a lot of state funding is like to the tune of millions and millions of dollars is going to solve the homeless problem. Well, that solving of the homeless problem employs people. It employs political assignees and political appointees. So, I mean, these people are getting jobs based on, solving the homeless problem. Well, what incentive is there to solve the homeless problem if you're paying me to think about solving the homeless problem? There's no incentive to solve it. As long as there are homeless people out here and it's a problem, I'm getting a paycheck.
Right.
So,
and it's the same thing when once you put dollars behind anything, it has a tendency of getting all weird. But here in this particular question is being presented specifically in Martin versus the city of Boise, Ninth Circuit Court. They held that cruel and unusual punishment clause prevents cities from enforcing criminal restrictions on public camping unless the person has access to adequate temporary shelter. In this case, Ninth Circuit extended Martin to a Class Y injunction prohibiting the city of Grants Pass in Oregon from enforcing its public camping ordinances, even through civil citations. The decision submitted that a conflict with the California Supreme Court and 11th Circuit, which have upheld similar ordinances and entrenched a broader split on the application of the Eighth Amendment to purportedly involuntary conduct. The Ninth Circuit nevertheless denied the rehearing en banc to a 14-13 vote. The question presented is, does enforcement of the general applicable laws regulating camping in public property constitute cruel and unusual punishment prohibited by the Eighth Amendment? So basically what they were running into is that by actually enforcing that city ordinance, you, i.e., ejecting those homeless people from that public camping site or that area that they're in, it's actually unwillingly exposing them to cruel and unusual punishment because they're no longer in a safe environment. Now they're more subject to being out in the elements and yada, 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 and not having the adequate shelters in place.
Yeah, the very, very basics of that is you're subjecting people to more harsh punishment than what they would normally face if they weren't already homeless.
Exactly.
So,
and that's what's being asked to close that loophole. My thing is that, and any competent attorney, I am not a lawyer, not an attorney, but anybody that could present that could think in the legalese mind, it could possibly present that a lot of these situations are independent of each other. They're not mutually exclusive as a mass class action. A lot of these homeless situations are matters of choice, not mitigating circumstances.
Yeah.
It's not a series of unfortunate events that led somebody.
That's been said by a lot of people recently. Yeah. It's like the homeless people that you used to see back in like the 50s through the 80s. It was a lot of it was people just down on their luck. They just can't find a job.
Right.
They're skilled people. Right. They just can't pick up work. And now they're out of a home. They're out of everything. They got to live on the streets. Nowadays, it's not really like that. Most of the people that you see homeless, and speaking as a law enforcement officer, yeah, it's true. Most of the people that you see that are homeless by choice. They don't like being in a confined space. They don't like being around people. Period. They don't want to be in a home either they're addicted to drugs or they have serious mental health issues. They don't get them treated. They don't take their meds. They want to be outside. They do what they do, and it's not an easy thing to try to control because it's a free person. Like they're allowed to do what they like. However, there are other things to consider, like society in general, or the town, or the safety of the people that are in the town, or use the services, or use the stores and the shops and stuff like that. And you got homeless people just sitting right outside. In the case of LA or San Francisco, it's extremely bad, where you got like drug paraphernalia everywhere, or human feces, or any kind of human waste or human made waste that's everywhere. It's just a filthy area. Around here, not so bad because the homeless population just really isn't that bad. But in situations with these homeless folks that are mental health patients or addicted, the things that, and I've never been on mental health medications or anything like that, but from what I've heard from the people who are on these medications, the medications make them feel a lot worse, or they make them feel like their head is drowning or something like that. That's why they don't take it.
Well, it's a process, and that's the thing. Like a lot of people are, because their mental condition it gets in the way of good treatment. So once you got somebody on some kind of meds, and I'm speaking from my expertise as a former mental health officer. So for you guys that don't understand, I was part of a division that dealt specifically with people that were that had mental health issues, and would try to decriminalize the actions of a person that was insane. So
yep, he really did. I synced it.
So it's a tough job, but it was one of the more rewarding ones that I've done in law enforcement, because you actually get to instead of taking this person to jail because he's naked and going around doing helicopter dick, now you're getting him to a treatment facility where he can actually get some mental health counseling and medication, and now he'll put his clothes back on, so right. He's not, so he doesn't end up in jail because of the actions. So certain actions, actually have, and it goes in line with the Code of Criminal Procedure as an affirmative defense to prosecution, which would be the mental insanity part of it all. So these people wouldn't necessarily face legal consequences, but it would bog down the system with unnecessary cases that would end up dismissed because of insanity. So the Texas, a lot of Texas agencies, police agencies, law enforcement agencies, sheriff's offices started these mental health divisions to decriminalize insane activity.
And there are some agencies that now require all of their officers to get that training.
So in the state of Texas, all licensed peace officers, as of August of 2021, and then of course COVID kind of pushed that timeline a little further down, are required to have at least 40 hours of mental health training. That is not necessarily as effective as being a guy assigned to a mental health division, that's their job 9 to 5, but it still gives an awareness to that patrolman when he's dealing with people that, hey, this may not be what it looks like it is. This person may be under some different mitigating circumstances. Right. But so what's happening here with this kind of stuff is these people get on these medications, and it's a process, and it's a process of elimination. I've gone through it myself in the past, and like you take a certain medication, and some of the people that are watching this show will be able to attest and verify what I'm saying, because they're all other veterans. A lot of guys have been through this stuff too. It's a carousel. I mean, you get your pill bottles, and you get your dosage based on your conversations with your psychiatrist, or and you take that first dosage, and it may impact you in a different way. You may feel down, or may feel tired or sleepy, or like your mind is in a fog, but you're no longer hearing voices. But now you can't function. Now that you have the freedom from the psychosis or whatever was ailing you, you have this other side effect that may stop you from enjoying everyday life. So, and that's things that have to be followed up. Mostly has to come from you. Like in my case, for instance, I took a medication that made me extremely sleepy. It controlled nightmares, and it did everything that was advertised. But for me specifically, it made me extremely sleepy. And I got kids. I can't just be asleep all day, you know. So we adjusted medication and talked to the doctor. It's like, hey, this medication did this as opposed to this. And I was like, oh, lower the dosage. All right, lower the dosage. All right, it's still doing it. All right, well, let's try this other stuff. And you start trying and trial and error until you find a happy medium where you can actually take care of the symptoms and live the life as best as you can.
Yeah.
A lot of these people fail to realize also that mental conditions are there to stay.
Yeah.
You have, when you have a chemical imbalance in your brain, i.e. when you have schizophrenia, when you have dementia, when you have, which we don't deal with dementia as much because that's a different can of worms, but when you have some of these other conditions that make you hear or see things that others don't seem to hear, that's there to stay. That's not going anywhere. So a lot of people, what happened too is they get that right medication and they'll continue to take their regimen of medication until that day they forget and they don't experience any symptoms. And they go like, I think I'm better now. And then the next day goes by and they don't feel that bad. And a week goes by and they don't feel that bad. A month goes by and they don't feel that bad. And then they forget, they just don't take it no more. And when the psychosis or whatever condition comes back, because it comes back gradually once it comes back, and that medication's out of your system, because a lot of it has to build up, you're right back where you started, back at square one. So it's a revolving, it's a carousel, man. It's just a constant thing. So a lot of these people, and I've dealt with, I'd say 100% of all of the homeless people I have dealt with personally have had some serious mental condition. 100% of them. There's not been one that you could say, he's all right, cat. He just wants to live under that bridge. No, they all have something. You know, they may have the freedom of choice, but they all have something. So this bill is trying to support the wishes of the state, because on the other side of the coin, people that are not suffering from homelessness and every day in some of these mental conditions and whatever, and they're not out there living in a tent, they want to live their every day. And I pose the question to you as a viewer, if you want to go get a soda from somewhere, are you going to go to the store that has 5 tents parked in front of it, or are you going to go to the one that doesn't have anybody parked in front of it? So it creates some economical things where some places have resorted to extreme things to get rid of the homeless people. I know of a couple of 7-Eleven stores in the West Coast that opted to play classical music at exceedingly high levels.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Exceedingly high decibels and blare classical music to the point where it's unbearable to stay in front of that store for any significant period of time, because it gets annoying, you know. So there's a lot of places that had to resort to stuff like that because they're not going to beat these people.
And the cops can't do anything about it.
The cops can't do anything about it. So it's up to the proprietor to determine his own way of attacking this issue, which is, and for the homeless, it's a honeypot for them because they got a lot of people coming in. So they can either get cash or food bought from them, you know, for them from the clients that are coming in and out of these stores. So eventually people get tired of having to go through the toll booth of homeless to get a damn get a hot dog or a honey bun. You know, you go in there to get a Coke and a hot dog, and next thing you know, instead of paying freaking the $6 that it costs you, now you gotta tell people no, and no, I don't have cash and whatever. It's It's created conflicts in a lot of places. So that's what this thing is trying to stop, and it's surprising that some of those jurisdictions are from these blue states, and it's.
But even in saying that, the red states are not immune. I mean, it's happening in every major city. So any capital city of any state, there's a pretty decent homeless population, and they're all dealing with it in their own ways. If you look at Austin, Texas, that was dealt with a bit differently than, say, L.A. or Sacramento. So, I mean, Governor Abbott, decreed like there are no tents allowed inside the city limits of Austin. Now, that was hit with conjunction with the Austin Police Department and the police chief and the Austin City Council.
But this is coming to a city near you.
Right.
Because there's these ambulance chasing lawyers. Because Frank that's got schizophrenia living in a tent next to the fountain in front of your office park, he don't have a lawyer on retainer to file this legal paperwork. He don't have it. Yeah. He don't have the means to type this and print it, let alone with the legalese that's involved in it. So these are guys these are people that are being preyed on by lawyers that are ambulance chasing situations like this, and
I'd say that assessment's a little bit unfair.
Well,
about ambulance chasing lawyers. Now these guys, something like that, where it deals with the civil rights issue, that could be a major precedent-setting case that goes to the Supreme Court. A lawyer that starts a case anywhere in any jurisdiction and gets that case all the way to the Supreme Court and wins, that is prestige for the rest of their career. They could charge a premium for any service they do. And a lot of the services that they're going to do is reviewing Supreme Court cases. So when another lawyer comes up and they got a case that they want to get heard by the Supreme Court, that guy can charge $150K to look at their case and go through it. And it's this is because he's already won a case at the Supreme Court. So it's worth a lot of money. It's worth a lot of prestige. And that prestige is name recognition. For a lawyer, that's everything.
Yeah. It's
So I mean, ambulance chaser maybe, but I mean, he's shooting for a lot of clout is what he's doing, a lot. He might have started as an ambulance chaser, but now he's got ambitions and he's got a case that might get heard by the Supreme Court, because that writ of certiorari, if it comes down that the Supreme Court wants to hear it. Because that's a whole other thing in and of itself, just getting the Supreme Court to hear the case. The Supreme Court chooses exactly how many cases it hears during its session, what cases they are, and everything about it. Those justices have every say in what comes into that court. It's they can pick a case straight out of whatever lower court it goes into. They don't have to pick a case from a circuit court or anything like that. They can have a case that they saw. And it's we need to make a decision on that because that's going to affect the entire country. And they can just pluck it out of the court system and hear it the next day.
I'd say this is one of those cases.
If it were, they'd have already done it.
I mean, this just started.
Right. Is there any is there any press release or anything from the Supreme Court saying anything about that case?
I'm not reading the press release. I got that's the appeal.
I don't know if the Supreme Court session is already over.
News briefing. There's a newsroom brief on it. Let's see. City of Grant Pass. And interest of amicus curiae. Yeah, there's a press release right here from Gavin Newsom.
Okay, it's the governor of California.
So Gavin Newsom is the governor of California, a former lieutenant governor of California, and the former mayor of San Francisco. In these roles, he has witnessed the firsthand the challenges of homelessness crisis. As a mayor of San Francisco, he partnered with local organizations to help thousands of people transition from the streets to supportive housing, and the governor has allocated more than $15 billion towards housing, homelessness.
$15 billion.
As root causes, and has launched programs to reward local governments to reduce the barriers to affordable housing while holding accountable those cities and counties that refuse to do their fair share to address the affordable housing crisis. In connection with these efforts, the governor has also addressed the encampments, which has fostered dangerous and unhealthy conditions for those living in them and for communities around them. Encampment resolutions are a vital tool for helping move people off the streets to connect them with resources and promote safety, health, and usable public spaces. The governor believes strongly that helping people experience homelessness requires meeting them where they are and treating them with dignity, and crisis will never be solved without blah, 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 blah.
The crisis will never be solved is the key takeaway there.
Yeah. It's the same guy that put sand in skate parks during COVID lockdown. So,
Yeah.
I mean, take that for a grain of salt. He's like, I don't want, we're no fun. So,
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, I don't know when the Supreme Court session is, like when they actually sit and hear cases, because it's from a certain point to a certain point during the year. The same thing as the House of Representatives or Congress in general. They only sit for a certain amount of time, so I just don't know when it is. But I mean, yeah, the Supreme Court has the power to just pluck a case out of the court system, or the lawyers that are involved in the case from one side or the other, or both sides could petition for a writ of certiorari to have the court hear the case.
Yeah.
The thing is, the Supreme Court ruling is usually gets codified in local laws. We saw what happened with Roe v. Wade. And when they said, like, the U.S. government, the federal government has no right to make a decision on that. This needs to be made by the state governments. Everybody, threw their hands up. It's like, oh my God, they're taking away rights. No, actually, they're giving rights back. They're giving the right back to the state that never should have left the state's hands. I mean, the Constitution clearly outlines what the federal government, and people need to understand what the Constitution is actually for. It is to limit the federal government's power over the states and the people. Mm-hmm. It says it in the document. Whatever rights are not outlined here are reserved to the states and the people. So if it doesn't say the government can do it here, they can't do it. Mm-hmm. So if anything else comes up, the state has to make a decision on it, an individual state.
Nah, but that segues into what other topic we got over there? Because I mean, you could do whatever,
right, yeah. Michigan and New Mexico.
You can do whatever you want, right?
Before I go into that, though, I want to go a little bit back to the spending, the shutdown. Mm-hmm. So I just found this. I didn't know about this a few minutes ago when we were talking about it. So Congress put together a stopgap bill. It was just just to prevent the shutdown from happening, right? Representative Jamal Bowman, Democrat from New York, pulled the fire alarm right before the House was supposed to vote on that bill.
I'm sorry, is that a euphemism?
No, he pulled the fucking fire alarm.
He, pulled the fire alarm. Isn't that a federal crime?
One, yes. Two, it's also another crime, interfering with a public proceeding.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Pull the fire alarm is a crime.
Yeah, pull the fire alarm is a crime, but
interference with a public proceeding, which is the same kind of thing that the January 6th people have now been convicted of and sentenced to 20 years in fucking prison.
I wonder, what's this scumbag's name?
Jamal Bowman, Jamaal Bowman.
Is he black?
Yes.
Oh, he won't see jail. Not a chance.
No, I just looked him up too. Yeah. He is 47 years old, Democrat in New York's 16th district since 2021. Oh, he's a freshman. Yeah, he hasn't been elected twice. He just got elected once.
Child.
Yeah, he hasn't been up for re-election yet. 16th district, blah, 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 Bronx, Westchester County, Mount Vernon, New Rochelle.
He pulled the alarm.
And Yonkers. Yeah, he pulled a fire alarm right before they were supposed to vote.
Wow.
That's 2 federal crimes. So
I wonder how many times he's done that in the past.
Who knows?
He probably did that in his local high school.
Anyway, I felt like I had to mention that just because I just saw that little bit of news that somebody pulled the fire alarm. A congressman pulled a fire alarm in Congress right before a vote, which is, what the fuck are you thinking?
This is where we are in our timeline, ladies and gentlemen. It's down to this. There is no public discourse. There is no voting to be had. There is no, with these
Redress
animals.
of grievances.
Redress grievances. There is this is serious.
Yeah.
This is serious.
People have been talking for years about people shredding the Constitution. It's like you've seen it more and more on its face every day, which leads me back into Michigan and New Mexico. So, New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan, I don't know, Grisham. No idea what that middle name is even doing there. Michelle Grisham, Governor of New Mexico.
Gesundheit.
Thank you. A couple of months ago, she passed like an executive order in New Mexico saying like there are no you cannot carry a firearm in Albuquerque.
Oh, of course not. Yeah,
that's what she did.
Yeah,
you cannot. Just right here, look it up. Just look up New Mexico governor. Emergency public health order suspending the right to carry firearms in public in and around Albuquerque. That's what she done. It has already been deemed unconstitutional that she did that. Here's the thing, though. She used her powers to declare a public health emergency to restrict people's ability to carry firearms in a particular city. And the argument has been made and it's been beaten to death over and over and over again. The only people that abide by gun laws or any of these gun edicts, emergency orders, public health order,
are clearly the bad guys.
Yeah, clearly the criminals that carry guns, carry stolen guns, and serial number scraped guns on a regular basis. The only people that abide by any of this stuff are law-abiding citizens, people that actually want to obey the law and think that that is the right thing to do. People who aren't going to obey those laws. What are you doing? So the only thing that a gun law or an edict or an emergency order like this does is prevent decent people, law-abiding citizens, from defending themselves against a deadly threat. That's the only thing it does. That's the only thing it ever has achieved. That's the only thing it ever will achieve. It prevents decent people from being able to defend themselves against a deadly threat. Look at Chicago for an example. Look at New York for example. L.A., Dallas, Austin, Houston. I won't leave Texas out of this because Texas has a problem too. Any major city, if you have serious gun laws, and there really aren't that many gun laws in Texas, those cities can't do that. They haven't tried yet. Anyway, but in any place where there are serious restrictive gun laws, you get serious upticks in gun crimes. There is a direct correlation between law-abiding people not being able to have a firearm on their person in public and those same law-abiding people being robbed, raped, and murdered by people with guns.
You're a bigot.
Of course I am.
That's the argument. You see what I'm saying? Like, and that's the problem.
Nowadays, you can tell that just by the color of my skin and that I grow facial hair and no scalp hair.
You're a bigot.
It's pattern baldness. There's no hairstyle that looks good with this kind of receding hairline. That's why I shave it. That's why most people shave their heads. I mean,
yeah, it's
my hairline's back here. If you can't tell, it's like halfway through my head. I got this crap going on down the center, and then that.
Kept that.
What?
Yeah.
The mohawk?
Mohawk.
No, that's dumb. No, I don't like it.
You should grow the sides, gel it out.
Shut up.
Like.
What was that clown name?
Bozo.
It was Bozo.
Yeah. I tell you, man, it's just this is insane, man. Like, what about the guy that didn't hear that edict?
Right. There's no idea about it. It's just carrying his gun because that's what he does every day.
Because he's been at the feed store.
Right.
You know.
Right.
He's like, you're not paying attention to any of his nonsense.
Yeah. Doesn't care about politics.
He don't care about politics.
Has a ranch outside of Albuquerque because his family's had that ranch for the past 150 years.
What about that guy? Is he a criminal? You know what I mean?
He is after that. Now, like I said, this has already been deemed unconstitutional. It's no longer enforceable. Yeah, if any cop ever enforced it.
They did.
No idea. I'm pretty sure they did.
The sheriff actually came out and addressed that, and he was like, I'm not doing that. So,
but that's not the only story. So that's New Mexico. Michigan House Bill 4474. So we were looking this up earlier. I had never heard of it before, and then I heard about it. So people are jumping on the internet about this. This is free speech violation. It violates people's First Amendment rights because apparently, here's the category that the bill is in. This is in Michigan. This is on the Michigan legislature website. That's where I'm getting this information from. The category it's in is in crime victims, civil rights, sex discrimination, and harassment, and sexual orientation discrimination. If you look this up on the internet, what people are saying about it is that it will criminalize using the wrong pronouns for people, similar to what you've seen in Canada nowadays. I don't know specifically where in Canada. It could be Vancouver. It could be BC. I don't know. But I've heard about it in Canada where people have been arrested for misgendering somebody, which is ridiculous. This bill has passed the House floor in Michigan. It has not passed the Senate in Michigan, and it has not gone to the governor's desk to be signed into law. So that is where this bill is at now, just to be clear about this. Now, to look up the summary of that bill, go to the internet. So, what you'll get on Google, first thing that comes up, House Bill 4474 seeks to expand what constitutes as a hate crime in Michigan as it relates to real or perceived identifying characteristics, including race, religion, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, and more. The bill also outlines the punishments for such crimes. Now, I'm not going to read the bill because it's probably ridiculously long and completely legalese. I'm not going to subject anybody to that. I might read it later, but there are conflicting things on the internet that I've found already that says it criminalizes misgendering people, and that it criminalizes pretty much a lot of things that would come up in normal conversation, like calling somebody a female when that person looks like a female, but she actually thinks she's a male, but nobody can tell that because appearing female. And that would be a criminal act to call her ma'am or she or lady or any kind of a female pronoun.
So, wrong speak?
Wrong speak. Using the wrong words.
Interesting.
But, and here's the thing. So you got the New Mexico thing with the governor doing that, and now you've got Michigan's entire house. Well, not their entire house. They had 59 yays, 50 no's for this bill, and one person refused to vote. So, I mean, it passed the House floor. The thing that bothers me, and the way I think, is now you've got two different states, New Mexico and Michigan, two different types of bills that are clearly in violation of the Constitution. This is, no matter what it purports it wants to do, it is a violation of the First Amendment. So you're going to restrict my right to say what I like, what I want. I mean, they're trying to codify hate speech. You can't codify. Hate speech is freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want. The KKK can come out here and say whatever the hell, whatever racist crap they come up with impunity, because it's their right to. The same way that BLM can say whatever crap they want to spew out, because it's their right to. It's hate speech, like even you saying like white privilege crap or anything like that. Yeah, it's freedom of speech. I know you say it in jest, but if somebody were to say it with all seriousness, it's their right to do so. They can say that. And the thing is, people are saying these things to other people, so they're trying to codify how you talk to another citizen. What these laws are supposed to do with the Constitution, the whole intention of it is to protect the citizens from the government. Like, you cannot be arrested by an employee of the government, like a police officer, because of something you say. Now, what another person can do to you is a completely different story. A person can assault you for something you say. That person will face charges, because assault is illegal where free speech is not. So you can't assault me just for something I say.
I wonder if autism will save you from being arrested.
If only I was autistic.
Right. Because it didn't save that girl in England.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that autistic girl that called the cop a lesbian. Yep, and she got offended. Did she just call her a lesbian, or she call her something? I don't think she called her a lesbian. Yeah, she called her a lesbian because she said she looked like her grandma.
Because her
grandmother,
her aunt.
Her aunt, yeah.
Her aunt
is a lesbian.
Is a lesbian that sports the same hairstyle.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's what she said.
She was comparing her to her aunt. She didn't mean anything by it.
Yeah.
I shared it on a couple videos back. I think it's like number 17 or somewhere in there. I shared a video in.
And she got yoinked out of that house by 7 cops.
Yeah.
She's an autistic girl, like a 16-year-old autistic girl.
Yep. Now you could chalk that up as it's a UK. They got different
ways of going about
ways of going about things. So,
but the other point on this, the Constitution, the way it laws it, is just to protect you from the government, not to protect you from what another person might say to you. That's ridiculous. Anybody, any group can say whatever they like.
Just be offended.
Yeah, just be offended. Nothing happens. I love that comedian too.
Yeah.
He's an
Nothing
Australian
happens.
dude. Nothing happens. You'll wake up the next day. You'll be okay.
Yeah.
It's like, his joke on stage is like, you got chlamydia now. Nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
But here's what I think about this, and this is where my head is at with it. This looks to me like, strategically speaking, it's somebody probing a defensive perimeter and seeing where the weaknesses are. That's what it looks like to me. So you got now 2 different states, 2 different body politics. So you got a House legislature and a governor making 2 very different laws on 2 very different amendments in the Constitution, the first and the second one. And they're seeing if they can actually be violated on the state level. They're testing the waters,
of course,
to see what they can get away with. And that's what it looks like to me.
Of course, that's exactly what it is. And the thing is that, so you can look us up on different platforms. We're not just on YouTube.
No, not anymore. We had to branch out.
We had to branch out because YouTube is although it's a great platform to express yourself and do things and have channels, and they've done a lot of great things for a lot of people. They self-censor ad nauseum. I mean, it's just
which amazes me.
It's insane because the FCC doesn't regulate what I'm saying right now. We're not on syndicated radio. We're not. You see what I'm saying? We're not on the airwaves. We're not on some AM frequency. Nothing like that. The FCC has nothing. They're not doing it. They don't have any jurisdiction over what I'm saying. The only times where the federal government can actually bleed over to what I'm saying, if there are any actual threats done against the nation, and stuff like that, or the president or stuff like that, then maybe they can take exception to that and actually investigate that. But outside of that, the federal government has no say in what we talk about and discuss on this channel. But YouTube, through their community guidelines, they have censored our content in the past. They have taken down our videos. They have demonetized all of them. Every single video is demonetized. Every single last one of them. They have 18 episodes. This is number 19. They have all demonetized. From the first couple seconds into that video, just the topic alone demonetizes the video. We have no chance of making any kind of money with our content whatsoever. And thank God that's not what this is about. But they're making the normalization of self-censorship is what I'm getting. And it's all being done through the proliferation of information. So I know I said a lot of big words there in rapid fire, but what it's basically trying to do is trying to groom the population into being okay with some of this stuff. Yeah. And which is why people wonder, and this question's been asked a lot of times, so will law enforcement enforce some of these things? My answer is yes, absolutely. Because it's even though everybody took an oath to the Constitution to protect the Constitution of the United States, people will follow those orders, regardless. Yeah. And I bring the example that I brought before when we were talking.
Will some of them quit and protest?
Will someone quit and protest? Absolutely. But they'll just be unemployed.
But those are not going to be the cops you hear about.
They're not going to be the guys that are going to save you because now they don't wear the badge.
That's right. Why would they risk it for nothing?
Well, yeah, they're done. So, a lot of agencies are gonna put up these edicts, and they're gonna put up these things, and police officers will enforce it because their bosses are telling them they will enforce it because it's on the books now, and it's an enforceable crime, and that's how it's gonna be, regardless of the ramifications. Because to the law enforcement officer on the ground, it is not up to them to interpret the decisions of the legislative branch.
Yeah.
So,
despite what anybody might think about law enforcement officers cannot choose what laws they will and will not enforce.
Now, it's now a few people will stand, and I'm gonna tell you right now, if you tell me to take somebody to jail because that's not happening. That's not happening. There's a few of us that we'll just die on our shield.
That's the thing.
But we'll just fall on.
You tell me I have to make an arrest because this person called this person a she when it's a he, or when they think it's a he. No, I'm not taking them to jail for that. And if you tell me you're taking them to jail, you're losing their jobs.
Okay,
here's the
fine.
job then. I'm
fine,
out.
Keep it. It's a thing. And,
but there are enough law enforcement officers that won't jeopardize their job.
They won't. And
some of them can't because they got way too many.
And that's the thing. It's like for instance, a while back, and I told you this example before. A while back, we were doing an operation, doing an arrest with a search warrant and all this other stuff. And one of my guys, I was the team leader at the time. One of my guys from the SWAT team asked to see the warrant, and it kind of took me aback because I hadn't seen the warrant. I was like, man. I was like, and you guys have known me just by the way I've talked in this channel. I'm a pretty staunch proponent of defender of the Constitution and of people's rights, and I hate when people get abused and railroaded, and it don't matter whether what your background is. I don't care if you're a meth addict. I don't care if you're a person of low means or a person of bad scruples. I don't care. I will not violate your rights. I refuse to, because if you do it to them, they do it to everybody else. It's just a bad precedence to establish. So, as a self-proclaimed person that defends the people's rights, I hadn't looked at that warrant not once. I had no idea if I'm about to follow an unlawful command. Mm-hmm. I had no clue. So, I was like, you know what? That's a fantastic idea. We should have disseminated that in front of everybody. So we checked down the warrant and came back and we read it. I was like, yeah, this is legit. What the causes for this warrant are legit. And this, and even though stamped by the judge, stamped by the courts, we could still at that point just refuse to take that mission. We can stand.
It'll happen with or without you.
It'll happen without us, but it will not be us.
Right.
So.
And once it's stamped by the judge, it's kind of a done deal. So,
and of course, my job will go along the wayside as well, But neither here or there. It caused people to think. You know what I mean? And a lot of these situations,
every officer that's about to be involved in that,
are we about to be involved in a violation of somebody's rights?
The warrant. Yep.
So, is this warrant? Even though a judge signed it, yeah, okay, but is this warrant predicated on good good freaking on good investigation, on good standing, is this going to be a good warrant or is this some good old boy howdy doody stamp job? Because they've been known to happen. I haven't seen one like that, me personally, even being in this county. So far the warrants that we've served here, the judges have done an outstanding job in scrubbing the heck out of those and making sure that they're lawful. So
because they're liable too.
Because they're liable as well. So, but there's always that possibility, and people won't think outside the box. So, will law enforcement enforce this kind of stuff? Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt, because they won't think about the moves beyond that.
And that's the thing about law enforcement and the moniker of a paramilitary organization. So. Yeah. And that's where people get confused, especially law enforcement officers. Like those of us who have been in the military and know the clear difference between a soldier and a police officer. Mm-hmm. It's not that hard to see. But for somebody who doesn't have that experience or isn't open-minded to gain the knowledge from people who have that experience, which I've met a few of them.
Right.
It can be pretty confusing because all law enforcement agencies are paramilitary organizations. That is because of their rank structure and the way they are set up. They have a command structure. They have a chain of command. They have sergeants and lieutenants and captains and commanders and all this other crap. And they get that from the military. That's why they're called a paramilitary organization. Now, are they military at all? No, not even a little bit. They are civilian law enforcement officers. But that kind of military idea goes to people's heads. And they seem to think that you're there to follow orders. You are not there to follow orders. You are there to enforce the law. You are there to achieve objectives. And if you get a order that you either feel is unlawful or you know is unlawful, if you know it's unlawful, you're not obligated to follow it, and you're actually required to report it. If you get one that you feel might be unlawful, you need to get that order clarified before you follow that order. Because it's your ass too.
Right. So with that said, and in the Michigan thing covered, then what the hell happened at Eagle Pass with the Border Patrol cutting that fence and letting all
Oh, you saw that too? I was about to say something about that.
Yeah, like, so.
Well, Elon Musk recently went to the border and had a lot to say about it. I'm not going to repeat it. You can go on Elon Musk's Twitter. It's the biggest Twitter following on Twitter. So, but yeah, he went down to the border and he's saying a lot about it. But yeah, I just saw a video like while we were talking, scrolling through Twitter a little bit, and yeah, it's actually right here. This, yeah, this. What are you talking about?
Right.
Yeah, so from what the caption on it says, those are Border Patrol agents in multicam uniforms cutting concertina wire that, from what I understand, was placed there by Texas military and DPS to prevent exactly what's happening and more migrants crossing the border. Yeah, that's concertina wire, razor wire. And they just cut it and let these people through. But that's the caption that's on this. Do I know who those uniformed folks are? Nope, they don't seem to be carrying any weapons, which I figured they would be if they were Border Patrol. I don't see any patches.
No, they don't want to put any.
Oh, there's a patch. Wait a minute. That guy's not Border Patrol, that's National Guard. Hang on. I'm about to watch this frame by frame now. Yeah, that's Texas National Guard. At least that one guy is, but he's wearing a face covering too.
Yeah, there's a lot of
So yeah, the only unit patch I can see in that is the I think is it 25th Infantry?
I don't know, it's all.
It's the arrowhead pointing down with a T in it.
That's the Texas National Guard, man.
Yeah, but it's a specific infantry unit. (36th Infantry). Yeah, he's wearing the patch of the 36th Infantry, which is the Texas National Guard. That's the only patch I can see there that I can identify. I can't see anything else.
But they had to remend the wire after they let it open. So
that's the thing. Were these people detained after this, or? Oh, there's a reader's context. These migrants are already in the U.S. No, they're not. They're in the Rio Grande. U.S. Customs and Border Protection is cutting through wire placed by Texas Department of Public Safety in order to take them into custody. Don't know if that actually happened because you don't see them going into custody. You do see quite a few officials there, though. Well, at least a few uniformed people.
So when they become Border Patrol officers, they raise their right hand. It's like, I state their name, do solemnly swear or affirm to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will take this obligation freely and without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter. So help me God.
Same oath a soldier takes.
Yeah. Why are they cutting the border?
Well, if it's true,
Like, it's a...
that's the thing. A video on the internet is a video on the internet. If it's true that they cut that wire to take them into custody,
were they saving a life? Were they, but from what I'm gathering, they just cut it open because they were told to cut it open and let all those immigrants in because they had some bulge of immigrants and let in freaking thousands of people in. It's not just the ones that were pictured on there. So it was a whole freaking truckload of them. And I know there's a fine line between. It's hard to just sit there and man your border station and watch people die.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be hard for anybody.
Yeah.
But ultimately, these are personal decisions that people are making to come across. It's Eagle Pass got inundated, and the breach was done by Border Patrol. So we have a huge problem with this. I have a huge problem with this.
Oh, Jamal Moman just released a statement.
Just now.
He said it was an accident.
What, he was leaning on it?
I want to personally clear up confusion surrounding today's events. Today, as I was rushing to make a vote, I came to a door that is usually open for votes, but today would not open. I am embarrassed to admit that I activated the fire alarm, mistakenly thinking it would open the door. I regret this and sincerely apologize for any confusion this caused. I want to be very clear, this was not me in any way trying to delay any vote. It was the exact opposite. I was trying urgently to get to a vote, which I ultimately did, and joined my colleagues in a bipartisan effort to keep our government open. I also met after the vote with the Sergeant-at-Arms and the Capitol Police at their request and explained what had happened. My hope is that no one will make more of this than it is. I am working hard every day, including today, to do my job, to do it well, and deliver for my constituents. That's from Jamal Bowman on his Twitter.
Okay, so he voted.
He voted.
How did he vote?
Well,
you know what I mean? We'll see if he did your job. You know what I mean? It's just we'll take a look and see if he did your job. Because come on, bro. Them things are labeled, man. Don't.
He's saying it was an accident. Now there's all sorts of stuff coming out and
whatever. I need video. I need more evidence to make a final determination on that. But it's still pretty shitty.
Jeez.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I mean, his state of New York was basically they declared themselves a sanctuary state until it was time to be a sanctuary. And
started trucking out migrants up to New York,
and then the state of Texas started punching up these immigrants up there, and now they don't want to be a sanctuary no more. All of a sudden, the border's an issue. They only had 1,100 immigrants come over to New York, something like that. It wasn't even 2,000 people.
So you got me. I have no idea.
But whatever. I mean, it is what it is. Immigrants are causing issues everywhere. You can't get a hotel in freaking Manhattan to save your life. So, but I wouldn't go up to that damn state for the life of me if I could help it. Over here, San Diego declares a crisis after 3,500 immigrants arrived this week, and in 1 week with no plan. So, yeah. It's not just that, but we are definitely seeing.
California gets a bunch of migrants too.
I mean, we're seeing freaking military age males of all different nationalities, ethnicities, and coming from South Sudan, coming from all over Africa, from India, coming from everywhere.
That's the thing. From what I understand, what's crossing the border isn't just Mexicans or people from Central America. They're from every country on the planet.
Every country on the planet. So It's I mean, I said this about 10 years ago. What better way to move when you're trying to establish a ground offensive in a country that's damn near impenetrable through air or sea? What would be the best way to move a battalion of infantry?
In civilian clothing.
Yeah.
That's an old tactic.
It is.
They made a whole movie based on that.
Yeah, Troy. It's a Trojan horse tactic. I mean,
Red
minus
Dawn.
the gift, but it's not
Red
a gift.
Dawn.
Red Dawn, yeah.
Yeah.
But they. I mean, it's
exactly how they did it in Red Dawn.
I mean, this is bonkers, man. This is bonkers. This stuff is. Oh, and did you see the guy that Kyle Rittenhouse shot? Got ran over by a car?
I heard something about it, but I haven't seen anything on it.
Yeah. And the guy fled the scene as a black guy.
Really?
Yeah. Hilarious.
Oh, wasn't it a BLM rally or something like that?
I don't know. He was crossing the street. The video just shows him crossing a crosswalk, and then some dude just freaking jumps the gun and turns left onto him. But what else you got? We got that.
The Michigan. The probe and the legal defenses is actually most of what I had. The thing about Congress voting to stop the shutdown, and the most recent thing about Jamal pulling a fire alarm. But yeah, I mean, that's most of what I have.
Of course, we got the strikes that are also happening too. The UAW strike.
UAW.
Auto workers.
Oh, they're striking?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that. What are they complaining about?
I'll tell you in a second. The UAW strike. UAW. Against GM and Ford. The Auto Workers Union. The United Auto Workers Union. Expansion of a strike against General Motors and Ford, saying sufficient progress has not been made in the talks. The union is now ramping up its strike against Stellantis, which is another company there, which the union says has made significant progress in negotiations. UAW president at the time, Ford leadership said in a press conference they're working towards a deal with the UAW against the company said the financial impact of the strike has been significant, believes there's still time to avoid more pain. The strike is 15 days, shows no signs of ending. President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump met with Auto Workers Union members this week in Detroit. It's like Ford's shift towards electric is not going to cost jobs, Chief Executive Jim Farley says. This is based on the Green Deal bullshit. Live stream negotiations update on Friday. Ford's upcoming EV battery factories have been a source of particular friction with workers. Also, there have been broad concerns that electric vehicles, which have fewer parts to assemble than gasoline engine vehicles, require fewer workers. Farley insisted that there will be more jobs, not fewer, for Ford in the future. None of our workers today are going to lose their jobs due to our battery plants. This contract period and beyond contract, he said. In fact, foreseeable future, we'll have to hire more workers and some workers to retire in order to keep up with the demand. So it's this shift towards EV. So California put out this edict, basically by 2033 or something like that, there'll be no internal combustion engines. They've already started pushing that towards lawn care. Yeah.
Electric lawnmowers?
Yes, sir.
So they're trying to do away with all combustion engines.
All internal combustion engines are going to be outlawed in California by 2033 or 2035. I'm not exactly sure. But the automotive industry is being impacted heavily now because the shift towards EV is becoming troublesome.
That's the thing about that. So, they're trying to move their crap too fast. The infrastructure just isn't there.
It's just not there. So the thing is that you can show these people square in the face that it's just not there.
Yeah.
But they'll do it anyways. It's the fucking most insane shit ever. Look, I'm not against EVs, man.
No, I think they're a great
I don't
thing.
care. I think they're super cool.
Yeah.
I think driving your laptop is awesome. It's awesome. You're inside your PC and you're driving it. It's pretty freaking neat.
Yeah.
I think that's freaking neat. The thing is that from a person that I looked at I was shopping for cars recently, and I'm looking at of course I looked at EV because why wouldn't I, right? It's the latest thing in the hottest thing in the market. You know, there's tons of freaking Teslas out there that are used now. You know, they're in really good condition. So I'm looking, and I'm like, man, I can't drive to San Antonio without stopping in Austin first. I can't.
Right.
There ain't no way. There ain't no way I can drive to Ohio to visit in-laws.
Yeah.
In an EV.
And it creates the battery competition. So who's going to have the longer lasting battery? Right now, Tesla wins on every market can win on. But there are, like, I think Toyota is coming out with a new type of battery that's supposed to get, like, twice the range or something like that.
Yo, Energizer, you're wasting your time. Y'all should have been ahead of the curve on this. You've had that bunny running laps for a hot minute now. Duracell's been doing the same thing. Come on, y'all should have been.
I think the only true battery chemical makeup is still lithium.
Yeah, ain't nothing alkaline no more.
No.
Not that I may be misspeaking.
Batteries.
I don't know. Don't quote me. I'm not a battery expert.
I don't know anything. I don't know. Well, I know very basic
I just
stuff
buy a lot of car batteries because I drive a really crappy car. So, but
the only reason I know batteries have lithium in them is because it's a precursor for meth production.
Yeah, well, also it's a thing. So the UAW strike has been going on for a hot minute now, and Ford and none of these other people have made any headway. Nothing significant really. And that's been going for a minute now. Let's see what else we got. But so
I know at one point we talked about the writers' strike and the actors' strike, and
I don't know, is that still going on?
I stopped caring. So
right, it's like
I really don't give a shit what they want.
As long as
there's always going to be somebody out there that'll write stuff for Hollywood.
As long as Angel Studios keep doing their thing.
I don't think it's affected them at all.
That's about the only.
Then again, they're not really in league with Hollywood, so.
Yeah, that's about the only. And of course, the impeachment hearings have begun.
Oh, have they?
Into Joe Biden, yeah. Biden impeachment hearings. And then, of course, stupid-ass Hunter Biden suing Rudy Giuliani for, I guess, a Data Privacy Act violation.
For his laptop?
For his laptop, yeah. His abandoned laptop after so many years.
It was abandoned, yeah.
Yeah. For gaining access to that and exposing the horrors contained within to the world.
You mean the evidence?
Yeah, the evidence. The evidence that apparently Representative freaking Crockett keeps thinking doesn't exist. So she went off on a 5-minute tirade talking about the only thing Biden has done wrong is loving his child.
That is such a crockish. I understand a parent loving their kid, but completely blocking everything from their kid. I mean,
look, it's public information.
Yeah.
This isn't like mincing meat over what Trump may or may have not done, where you couldn't really find stuff online that well, and everything was just opinion based, and there wasn't a whole lot of hard facts with the impeachments, anything that you could really sink your teeth in, which is why he wasn't convicted of anything. You know, he wasn't All those impeachments led to nothing. It's just aggravation. So, in the Biden case, it's all on YouTube.
Yep.
All on YouTube. He withheld defense funds that were promised in an agreement from president to president. He threatened to withhold funds. Those funds that were done in a trade deal, already approved by Congress. He threatened to withhold those funds if a particular person was not fired.
Was fired.
And he was fired.
No, hold funds unless he was fired.
Yeah, if he was not fired. That's what I said. We said the same thing.
Opposite.
If you
don't get rid of that attorney.
Yeah, he threatened to withhold those funds if he wasn't fired. Like, if he was not fired. So they fired the guy. And, of course, the funds went through. And then he admitted to that. That's called quid pro quo. And
that's the thing. We didn't know about that until Joe actually said it in front of the camera.
Yeah, we. And what do you know? The son of a bitch was fired. What?
And then people looked into it. It's like, yeah, no shit. This guy was fired right after Joe Biden's meeting. And he just told the world what he said
and then
to the Ukrainian government.
They basically tried to charge Donald Trump for that crime.
Mm-hmm.
Because the impeachment was based off a quid pro quo. I was like, wait a freaking minute here.
Yep.
He ain't the one that's doing the quid pro quo. It's the other guy. He asked about that quid pro quo on a phone call. He didn't do quid pro quo. He asked about the quid pro quo. It's insane clown world. No other way to put it, man. I don't even know what to think. The way these people are freaking behave. But that representative had like a 5-minute tirade. I don't even replay it. Normally I'll put the video on here, but there's so much nonsense. I don't even want to hear her voice no more. I've heard it like 4 or 5 times. I don't even want to hear it. It's insane. Just her.
I think I remember like skimming over that. Just starting to hear her say, "Oh, he just loves his child." No,
yeah. It
just amazes me how lockstep these folks get about obvious crimes, obvious things. Mm-hmm. Just like, because it affects somebody in their party, really the leader of their party, who's the president of the United States. It affects him, so everybody's got to link arms and make sure the president can get away with whatever the hell he's doing and his kid.
Yeah, and another thing, it's
why can't he be held accountable? Why can't Hunter be held accountable? Because the only reason is because he's the president's son. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nobody's above the law. Bullshit. There are plenty of people who are above the law. Plenty of them. Most of them live in D.C.
Yeah, this is bananas.
But I think I got nothing else, bro.
Yeah, well, we got Russell Brand.
Oh, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
So he's been accused of... Was he accused of actual sexual assault or rape, or was he just accused of inappropriate relationships?
He ain't accused of nothing. It's just some media, some newspaper freaking people talking crazy.
So there are no law enforcement agencies saying he's about to be charged with nothing?
He's going to get investigated by law enforcement. They're not quite there yet.
Huh.
Yeah, this is all just, it may be true, maybe not, but YouTube took off his, completely demonetized them. And another thing that happens with demonetization is that they still run ads on your show. They just don't give you the money.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
They still run ads on it. They just completely take you out of the equation for that. So in order for us to get around it, so we're on Rumble. We're on Rumble, same name to our podcast, same name, same everything. we're on Instagram. We're on X. We're on just about everything but TikTok. We don't do TikTok. No. I'm not gonna do TikTok. I don't. But we're on pretty much every major social media platform except for TikTok. So we're on YouTube. Clearly, but we're also on Facebook, and we're soon to be punched out. I'm about to push out some feeds to Spotify and iTunes. So stay tuned for that. I'll give you guys some updates on that. The next step is getting on Patreon and doing that as well, and but little baby steps. Our channel's so small, we're still growing. There's a lot of I don't want to put the cart in front of the horse on this one, but we're definitely trying to do the best we can. Try to get you guys to mainly try to get you guys to do research and think for yourselves and actually research some of these things. We'll give you the highlights of the stuff, and you guys can really jump into the weeds on that, and really dig into that, because there's a lot going on, and the media isn't really telling you everything. The thing with Russell Brand is it's such a crazy situation.
We could do OnlyFans.
We could do OnlyFans.
Let us know if you want us to do an OnlyFans.
I'm pretty sure just you and me are a separate category on that damn thing.
Maybe.
Oh no, that's Pornhub.
Why did your head go there?
Yeah, that's Pornhub. My bad.
Is that not what OnlyFans is for?
That'd be pretty stupid. We just put an OnlyFans. It's just a podcast. It's two fat guys talking.
That's actually what OnlyFans was supposed to be for. It's just everybody turned it into porn. Seriously, OnlyFans is supposed to be like actors and producers and everything getting on there and talking to their fans and putting out content for their fans. But everybody turned it into a porn site. So
that's freaking hilarious, man.
That's serious.
Yeah.
That's what OnlyFans is supposed to be for. I've never been to OnlyFans.
Oh, you got like 50 people. All right, if we do an OnlyFans, we'll have to do it with no shirts on at least.
I'm not doing that. You can just rip it off of YouTube and put the same stuff on OnlyFans.
Oh, no, that's insane. But yeah, so don't forget, when you guys watch the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. If you guys like our content, we're going to keep pushing these videos out. Watch out for our shorts throughout the week, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook and X.
And look for us on OnlyFans.
Yeah, we're not on OnlyFans. We're not there.
We might be on OnlyFans.
You know what? I may actually cave into that. I may actually cave into that, but
sign up for it right now.
No, oh no! God damn it! All right. In any case, just follow us, give us a like. It does help with the algorithm.
See, like their homepage has like people working out and like playing the violin and shit.
We don't do either of those.
No, that's true. And we don't have boobs. Well, not D cups.
Well, speak for yourself, my friend. But
I think I'm pushing a B.
I don't know. I think Kevin says I got a C cup, but
she has A cups though.
The hell with him. He's British. What does he know?
It's a different sizing system.
Yeah. It's European. Makes me feel better. Anywho,
I've never been to OnlyFans before, for real.
Oh my God. This guy, I tell you.
This looks like an interesting website.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So just look us up on the other ones, Rumble, YouTube, and whatnot. As soon as we go, we don't have merch yet.
OnlyFans does.
We will have merch. Though.
We could wear OnlyFans merch.
We could wear That's how I got into law enforcement too. It's like, oh man, let's be cops. Okay. I'm like, man, you should
That's
be a
how I
cop.
went to SWAT school.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
you remember that?
Yeah. Oh you almost killed you.
I lived though.
Oh, I tested your manhood with the damn body armor. I was like, you're going to take the plates off that one day.
All right, that's it for our show.
Yeah. I was like, be a man, keep the plates on.
Yeah.
Everybody took their plates off.
Yeah, except for my
Except for me and this dude.
And I was wearing steel plates.
We were wearing heavy ass things. Oh my God, that was horrible. What was that? Like 300-meter low crawl? Something like that?
Something like that. It was pretty good distance.
It was a long ways. Oh, shoot. Well, I'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Keep an eye out for the shorts. Like I said, follow us on YouTube, Facebook, all the social medias. Yeah. God damn it. At Eastcast. So that's all we got for this week. So check us out. Take care. Have fun. And research all this stuff. It's a lot going on. Keep your heads up. It's not the end of it. Far from it, all right? Deuce.